What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. Shout out to the Dragon Riders and the House of the Dragon. We are still Dragonass, as we've been doing for the past month and a half now. Since the top, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are on our 7th week now. I do think, I wouldn't expect that we see another 7 weeks down. I would expect that we start to turn up finally within the next 7 weeks probably. I think we're either at the halfway point or past the halfway point at this time. Probably like 6 weeks or less actually. But I would more expect that, maybe 2 to 4 more weeks is when we're going to see this low kind of come in. And I say that it could happen this week. It could happen longer than that. Nobody really knows. Time analysis is not my strongest suit with most things. But on a weekly time frame, we can see here that this RSI is starting to cool off. It's pretty cooled off right now, actually. We're at the 60 area right now. We had a little bit of a bounce off of it. Can we go lower? Sure. Could we go higher? Sure. Who knows? That's where it kind of takes looking at the smaller time frames to get a better gauge of that. If we take the low here and we go to like this low, I kind of would expect that we still do go down, and wouldn't you know it that if we went down from there and down to like this low area here, this is right. I cannot draw lines, man. This is right around that 50 zone on the weekly RSI where we found resistance before, support before, a little bit of support just slightly above it, support here just slightly below it. Resistance there, resistance there, resistance there. It's a significant line on the weekly. On the daily, it's not as significant, but on the weekly, I would say it is. So, anyways, I do expect overall, guys, that we are still going to continue our way down. Starting the week green like this, we're barely green right now, but starting the week green like this in this overall downward consolidation after a week where we had a wick to the upside, I would expect that we are going to come down throughout this week. Prove me wrong on that, get above that week's wick there, and then we can start talking, right? We haven't had a week that has closed. I guess this, okay, so to be fair, this week did close higher than this week. I don't know. Maybe I take back what I was going to say. I was going to say that we haven't had a week that's closed higher than any week, but I guess technically, right, we have. Maybe we haven't had, I should better say, we haven't had 2 weeks close back-to-back higher. So if we see something like that too, that might change my opinion as well. But on a daily time frame, we start to zoom in on this thing a little bit more. Looking at the long-term RSI, we are well above the 50. We could come all the way down to this purple line, which is right at 173, 174. Maybe by the time we get there, it'd be at like 175, 180, and still very likely be above this 50. And anytime we get below that purple line and we're above the 50, that generally implies a good time to buy. It's not always. I'd say it's like 60, maybe 70% of the time, probably closer to 60% of the time from what I've seen. And every chart's different. But that's the 123 moving average. This is the 123 RSI. That's why I call it the long-term RSI, because that is a very long-term RSI. To move from 55 to the 50 on a regular RSI, it doesn't take much, right? For this thing to move down to the 50, I'm telling you, you could drop from here. That would be an overall price. That'd be an over 25, maybe like a 24. You could drop probably over 26%, and you still wouldn't even be below the 50 on here. So it takes a lot more to move this thing, that's for sure. It's better for like longer term analysis, I would say. Looking at the daily, what are we doing as far as like price action goes? From this top here to this bottom here, we did reject the 236. We might be finding support on the 0.069 area. That's totally possible. It's also possible that we could come up to this 382 area and then turn around from there, but I'm not so sure. I'm actually not so sure, man. I think this rejection off of the 50 on the short-term RSI, being in this overall kind of downtrend, I think that we are looking to set a lower low in this RSI at least, which probably would promote a lower low in the price as well. And by the time that we do form a lower low in this RSI, we're going to be in the oversold zone or near it, and I would expect that we see bigger moves than anything we've seen so far. The biggest candle that we've had in a day so far was 6.69%. So if we saw something that was a little bit bigger, even from this current price, 6.69 would be about there. That's at about 212. If we saw something that took us to like $200, that would be about a 10% move, 11% move, maybe a 12% move actually. Yeah, something like that, 12 to 13% move. that to me sounds a little bit more feasible. We might see a move that's in the double digits of percentages from an open to a closing basis this week or the week after, you know. And I feel like I've been saying that for quite some time, but really, each time I've said that, I've said that we will see that once we get into this oversold zone. That's kind of the, or even near it, you know, in the weaker readings of the RSI. The biggest moves to the upside happen when you're in the overbought zone. The strongest moves to the downside happen when you're in the oversold zone. So let's see. Let's get this. Another thing that kind of marks the 200 area, for those of you who might not have seen my videos in a little while, or maybe you've never seen them before, from this low to this high here, you know, we have a 382 level coming in right at 201. There is also a daily closing and opening kind of area right there at 194. So we could, you know, we could wick below the 382, find support there. We could find support directly on the 382. Maybe bounce up from there, even come back to like the current prices and then continue to go lower. Something like that is totally possible. We might not even stop at the 382. We could actually just break straight through it and go a little bit lower and closer to this purple line, but time will tell. You know, I wasn't expecting that at first. I was expecting more, that we'd find significance on this 382 area, but I'm starting to think that we might not. We might actually blast right through it on first pass, but maybe we do. Maybe we do find support, but maybe we don't. Ultimately, for those of you who might not know, I'm projecting that we go to the 0.618 to the 0.69 area, which is anywhere from about 149 to 135 at the lowest. We very well could also bottom out somewhere around this like 185, 180, somewhere in between this white line and the green line there, and maybe just below it, you know, somewhere like that. So I do have buy orders layered out throughout like this whole range from about 180 and down. That's where I have my buy orders layered out. Most of my buy orders, though, the heaviest positions are taken below the green line, actually. So looking at the 4-hour time frame on the 4-hour RSI, you know, I think my video that I made on it last time, excluding today's live stream, I think I made it like, you know, somewhere around here. Maybe it was even around here, and I was saying that it looked weak. It looked like we wanted to get into the oversold zone, and we went up a little bit, you know, but up a little bit. We went up like literally $2. So what we have here is a high, a nice little peak in the RSI, which is still kind of in this downtrend, right? It's still a lower high overall, and it's not hidden bearish, is it? No. I don't know. We got swallowed up by oh yeah, I made this on my Twitter. If we go check out the Twitter page here, I made a post at the day's close, so I wasn't able to make a video, but or not at the day's close, but a little bit afterwards, like literally 15 minutes afterwards. 4-hour bearish engulfing candle to end the week and the day on Bitcoin Cash. So this wasn't, you know, this wasn't a weekly candle or a daily candle. This was a 4-hour candle, but it did end the week and it did end the day. And, you know, this is the last candle of the week, last candle of the day, and we had a bearish engulfing candle to mark that. We continue to move lower. Actually, right afterwards, we kind of have a tweezer bottom is what it looks like right now. 50 minutes left in this 4-hour time frame. This could promote some growth that takes us up to this purple line. Maybe we do move up to like 235. Maybe we even move higher. That's totally possible as well. But if we were to turn around from here, that wouldn't surprise me either. You know, we've seen bearish engulfing candles that get faked out by bullish engulfing candles that then get faked out by further downside as well. So, you know, this price action is kind of messing with people. Let's see if we can find anything like this. I don't know. Here, you know, you had a wick to the upside and you still went down afterwards, but then you went up ultimately after that. Nothing really. Everything with the wick to the downside actually kind of looks like you're going to go higher afterwards. So maybe we do go a little bit higher. Finding support again on this area right at like the 236. This is a more short fib scale here. So this is actually right at the 0.618, 0.69. The 236 that I was talking about was from up here. If we went from top to bottom there, right, we didn't find support. I'm sorry, we found resistance at the 236. But we could, you know, it's very common to kind of do this, come down, and then come up to the 382, and then you proceed to go lower. So could we do something like that? It's possible. Would that still maintain lower highs overall? It would. It definitely would. Even though this is a high right now, we had highs over here. We went higher, right? And then really it was just an overall lower high. So could we do something similar to that? I think we could. We might not. It's hard to say. Time will tell. The 4-hour is probably the most bullish looking time frame, if I had to say so, but that can change quickly too. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot for this thing to look bearish, and at the moment we do have a bearish engulfing candle with further downside. You know, that came right afterwards. There's a little bit of a pickup in volume, but there's not a whole lot of volume. Let's look at the 1 hour to see. Actually, maybe did I already look at the RSI? Yeah, we already did. Okay, you got above the 50. But then you came right back below it, you rejected it. But you are maintaining higher lows. So the 4-hour, I stand by it, is probably the most bullish looking time frame on this chart. The 1 hour, however, is bearish. It looks like you rejected the 50. You are getting lower lows. You went up to the overbought zone and straight rejected it. You are kind of neutral with a more bearish tilt overall in this kind of 1 hour time frame. Though it is the 1 hour, so it's going to promote less significant price actions, right? More immediate, but less significant. Can't get above the 50 on the long-term RSI, which to me just also spells that we're in a downtrend. If we go to the 15-minute, which I don't normally bust out, 15-minute looks weak as well, neutral as well, but kind of weak. Really, all time frames are, to me, saying that they want more downside, except for the 4-hour. So hard to say, because the 4-hour definitely outweighs the 1 hour and the 15, and it doesn't obviously outweigh the daily or the weekly, but the 4-hour is significant enough where it could turn some things around in the more immediate terms, while still maintaining a bearish look on the daily and weekly. But if you want to prove that wrong, any of that wrong, you want to see this thing go up, you want to say that it's bottomed here, the first step that you would need really would be closing a day above here. Close a day above 238. And then the second thing you would need after that is have a day that opens and closes, because here we had a day that closed above this one, right? But then the next day it closed below it. So if you don't get confirmation, then it's just a fake out, which that's exactly what this was. It's exactly what this was over here. And fake outs do not promote growth, they promote the opposite, right? And if we get a fake out to the downside, that doesn't promote the opposite of growth, it promotes upside. Let's see here. Let us see. I think that's everything, man. I think that's all I want to say, you know. Some people, you know, if we want to talk about the longer term stuff, some people have been calling for $1,000 Bitcoin Cash, $1,300 Bitcoin Cash. Even more than that by the end of this year. And I had a couple people saying that on the live stream even. I want to say that is, you know, anything's possible, especially with a crypto like this. Like, you know, look in its very beginning days, right? To be fair, this was at the end of the bull market. We're not at the end of the bull market right now. You see the biggest moves generally, not always, but generally in the end of the bull market. From this low to that high there in the course of 3 months, really we could say 2 months, right? You moved up 878%. So if you were to move up 878% from here in 2 months, what would that do? 840, not even 878, would take you above $2,000. And 2 months from now would be October, right? So it is possible. We've seen these kind of moves before, you know, even here. And if it's August, September, October, November, December, we have 4 months left in the year. We had a 4-month move here from low to high. We had a 339% move. What would that? I mean, that would be right around $1,000, and that could happen by the end of the year. That is possible. A move to $1,000 is possible. I just don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't say that it's likely, but it is possible. You know, we would have to move kind of in a more like straight line without having any significant pullbacks on the way down or on the way up. I mean. As far as the RSI goes, we are in a stronger position with the monthly RSI than we were back here. And, you know, to be fair as well, we came off the lows here. Here we came off the lows as well. It's comparable. It is kind of comparable, but we didn't see continuous follow through. Here we just had one ridiculous massive pump on a weekly basis, something that we've never seen with that much of a high reading in the RSI. Literally the only other time that it came close was back here, but this was the highest reading. We've never seen that much volume, and we've never had a straight consolidation phase like this with that much volume coming in afterwards and that kind of move. This was the biggest move in the shortest amount of time that we saw for Bitcoin Cash with the most amount of volume. I think it was. I think this actually might have been bigger. No, I say biggest move in the shortest amount of time. 2 weeks. This one took 3 weeks, so I stand by that. And again, you know, you can just see that here with the reading. That is the strongest reading we've gotten. It's close, but it is the strongest reading we've gotten. Pair that with the fact that we were overbought for 6 weeks. The longest time before this that we were ever overbought was 3 weeks. So things are a little bit different this time than they were back here. I think that we were hot for a little while, and we do need to cool off. we could see some low side this month and then close this month like with a solid wick to the downside. We might close this month rather bearish too. I mean, it's really anyone's game. Who knows? You know, time will tell. But overall, I do expect us to go lower. I feel like I'm getting away from myself. I might have been confusing there. Where I do think Bitcoin Cash is going to go is, you know, anywhere again from about 180, 185. I would say 185 just to be safe to 135, somewhere in that range. And that 135 comes from this 0.69 area, which, oh wait, I'm on the wrong fib here. Which would be from right here, yeah, right there, 135. And that's also, you know, right in line with these this previous topping range here. Come down, find support on previous areas of resistance. It's very common. Beyond all that as well, if we were to take this kind of overall macro fib from the last high to the current low, if I can get it, there we go, to the current low, the 236 is right there at 174. So I am expecting one way or another that we do see prices below 180, but we might not, so that's why I gave it that range of 185 to 135. And with that, I think I'll leave you guys. Again, I don't expect that we'll be up above $1,000 by the end of the year. I think we're going to have a hell of a time battling with this area whenever we get to it. And that, you know, that's in 2024. I'm not meaning to draw it there. You know, if we were to say this year, it'll be like somewhere around here. I do think that we can make a move up here. We might even break through it, but the 786 is right there at 875. And Bitcoin Cash, while it does like to move like straight up, it's, you know, it tends to do that right at the end of its bull market. That at least that we've seen, right? Let's see. Here at the end of its bull market. Here you went up, but then you gave it back and you moved sideways, right? And then you had your real, like the finishing move at the end of the bull market. We're still in the beginning areas of the bull market. I think that we have plenty of time, and with that we'll probably get some kind of accumulation zone like this. It probably will be boring for quite an amount of time. But maybe we don't start accumulating here. Maybe we don't go sideways and we're just like doing this all the time. Maybe we do go up another leg at some point, you know, either next year or this year, but I don't know if it'll take us to $1,000. That's just my perspective. One way or another, I do plan on getting in at about 135 to 185. Most of my buy orders, the heaviest buy order I have right now is set at 145, and you know that can change. I'm open to it changing. It doesn't have to stay there, but at the moment that's what it is. That's what it's been for over a month now, and that's where it will stay until I see something that changes my opinion in the charts, which I haven't yet. We still have lower lows, lower highs, and we are getting weaker in the daily RSI. Once we get to this oversold zone, we will probably see weaker moves or stronger moves, but to the downside. So at that point, I think I'm done with this video. If you guys like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.